got you good. No worries, just hang in there for a second. There! Good news. Your armor kept you mostly in one piece. So, quick update. This isn't a simulation. We're really on a ginormous spaceship. And the ship's being taken over by...
Now what are you two little gnats up to? This is to be mine. The first of many.
Okay, time to get away from all these tentacles and prying eyes. This might feel a bit weird.
This is the story of how I spent 100 days on ARK Genesis Part 2. If you find yourself enjoying this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and stick around to the end for a nice surprise. You won't regret it. I started off on day 1 as usual, doing everything an ARK player would on this map, tech punching some rocks and trees for some quick easy resources. I then tech punched this parasaur because I needed some hide, and then went and collected some fiber. Then I decided that I should pick a base location soon in this series because I want to make a ton of progress in this 100 days. I found this nice spot with some crystal and some parasaurs that were stuck in the ground, which I found pretty hilarious. I then crafted up a spyglass and started searching for my own parasaur to tame because we need our channel mascot. Oh yes, we do. I found a nice 168 parasaur and knocked it out just as day 2 began. While waiting for the parasaur to tame up, I got started on a little base camp until we can get a proper house going, and then it happened. Yep, you're right, it wouldn't be an ARK series on this channel if we didn't name our first parasaur sacrifice. To end off day 2, I did a bunch of things. I killed the sheep for some mutton, built up the base camp a little bit, fought some creatures, made a forge because I wanted some metal tools. I also made a smithy, and then on the morning of day 3, I went out to collect some metal from a nearby mountain. After bringing the metal back home and setting it off smelting, I spent the rest of day 3 collecting resources, building things I needed, and crafting things I needed. I spent day 4 gathering resources and leveling my character up to get to a certain point where I can get a certain item that I needed for a certain task I needed to do.
Nice.
Even into day 5, the grind for this item continued, and the next thing I needed on my list was polymer. So here's, me killing a lot of, ducks. Polymer. Yeah. If you haven't figured it out by now, the item I needed so badly was a net gun. And if you may be wondering, hey, what does he need a net gun for? Well, I'll show you. A Maywing, yes. I need to fly around a little bit faster, and this high-level Maywing is going to be the perfect thing to do it. So I brought my newly tamed Maywing home, packed up Sacrifice, and headed out on a mission to do a mission.
Here we go. That's it. Ride that updraft. First place. Good on ya.
After I finished the mission, I spent the rest of day 6 and the start of day 7 searching for a Dodicarus because I wanted to get some harvesting creatures to start building a base soon. And after a whole day of searching, I finally found a 174, a decent enough level, well, a really good level Dodicarus for us to tame. So I trapped it up, found this cool Ghost Rex costume in a bag, and started tranking the Dodicarus until I knocked it out. Then I spent the entirety of day 8 searching for a high-level mammoth to tame because that's the other harvesting creature we need. I had this whole ordeal with this group of mammoths that kept crowding around the high-level one, so I had to keep luring them off cliffs because more kept showing up. I will admit, this was quite the struggle. I didn't expect to have such a hard time taming this mammoth, but I almost died, as you can see there, but in the end, I finally got it knocked out. And as it turns out, I apparently either didn't record something or lost some footage where I did a mission to pass time, and both the mammoth and the Dodicarus got deleted from the map, so I had to go out and find 2 new ones, and that took up to day 11, which is what you're seeing now. I moved my base camp as well in this time, like as you can see right there, day 11, level 66. I don't remember what level I was in the last clip, but yeah, I did a lot in these couple days. And it's all gone. I don't know how. But anyways, we continue on day 12 with starting to build our permanent base. And oh boy, I think you guys are going to like it. I have a really cool idea for a base. Once I laid down the foundation for the base, I decided that I needed the gas bags because they have a lot of weight, and weight is useful. But oh boy, I did not enjoy this search at all. I didn't find a single high-level gas bags to tame, and I still haven't. I just kept finding low level after low level, and couldn't even get rid of them because they have this crazy resistance. I even went into space at one point for no reason at all. So after that horrible experience, I decided I needed something a bit easier, so cue the first montage of the video, a Maywing taming spree. After collecting up all the Maywings I just tamed, totally not leaving one behind because I was out of soul traps, I headed back home to make some electrical stuff so I can start breeding these Maywings and combining their stats to make the ultimate, sort of ultimate Maywing. While waiting for the Maywings to breed, I went out into the space biome to see what asteroid cycle was out there. Turns out it was the element one, which is super helpful considering I'll be needing some elements soon. But this void worm decided to be super annoying and interrupt me, so I had to leave. But even though I was trying to leave, it tried to follow me back to the Eden biome, but I managed to ditch it in this little section there. After I returned home with the element, I decided to start construction on the base, because this project was going to take many days to complete. But in the middle of that, I kinda got interrupted with my little Maywing project, and I got this guy, which has all of the stats, the best stats from the Maywings that we were breeding over there, and I fully raised it up, and decided to name it. After running around on my Maywing for a while, I decided to go back to work on the base again, because like I said before, this is a long project, and I wanted to get started on it very quickly. I won't be showing the entire base construction because it's multiple floors, and the floors are basically repetitive all the way up, so here's just the first floor in its entirety. In the middle of the building process, I decided that I wanted an Argentavis, so guess what I did? I went and tamed myself an Argentavis, because why not? I found a level 168, trapped it, knocked it out, tamed it, named it Falcon, and now I have a giant bird. After spending a ton more time and making frequent trips back to the space biome, here's what the base looks like. I decided that I needed a harvesting strider because the Mammoth and Doedicurus just weren't cutting it for the amount of resources that I needed. Plus, I needed a lot of metal, and harvesting striders are the best creature to get metal with. So I ventured out into the Eden biome to try and find myself a decent level harvesting strider to tame, and oh boy, this took way longer than it should have. Striders have to walk a certain amount of time in between, like, mutagel hacking, whatever it is. And yeah, this one just decided it would go back to all the places it had been before, which doesn't count for some reason and makes the timer go back up. But finally, after way too much time, almost an entire day, I finally tamed the Strider. And yes, it was definitely worth taming. This thing is super good. After that, I took the Strider out to the space biome to gather some metal, then went back to my base to continue building it. And I spent the next many days building this base. I think I got the whole first floor done as well as the second floor, so I'm going to skip ahead until both of those things are done. As you can see here, I am now on day 36. I skipped over 10 days of time, and I have a very good explanation for that. All of this was just me building my base, leveling up, gathering resources, all stuff you have probably seen on ARK before, and none of it is the most exciting stuff that happened in this 100 days, which is what I strive to bring to you guys. As you can see in my inventory, I have a new dino that I did not show you guys yet. It is a Phiomia, and I need it for crops. I tamed it during the little time skip, but taming a Phiomia is not really that exciting. And yeah, here's a little bit more of my base. I have a ramp and a little balcony around the edge with some walls connecting it to the ground, and I'm sure you guys will see a lot more of the base as these 100 days and this whole series goes on. And as I stated before, my next project is a greenhouse, and for that I need a lot of things, like a dung beetle and some power sources for the S+ farming automation things that come with the mod. And for that I needed sulfur and cactus sap, which I searched all throughout Rockwell's garden for a long time to find, and as you can see there, I got a lot of it. Sadly, when I got back to my dung beetles, it seems only one of them survived, and that's probably because of a couple intruders, one being this Shadowmane that, Shadowmanes are so annoying. They jump at you, and they stun you in the air, and they kill your dung beetles, and keep chasing after you, and I had to lure it away. But in the end, I managed to get back to the dung beetle and tame it perfectly. And after getting back to base and getting all of the things I needed to do, I started construction on the greenhouse. And with the placement of that feeding trough, our automated greenhouse was complete. The next thing I did was finish up the roof to the second floor of my base, and I also put a bunch of other things around the base and continued working on the greenhouse a little bit. I also painted my tech suit to match my channel colors, because why not? I think it looks quite good. Then I decided that I wanted to go out and tame a new carnivore, so I decided to go out and search for an ARK, and I found this level 156. What happened next I consider to be pretty insane. I found this level 201 Tech Rex just chilling near my Thyla, and so of course I decided to tame it because who could pass up this high of a level Rex? And after a lot of time and a lot of tranks, I finally managed to knock it out. And on the morning of day 44, I went back for my tamed Thyla and to feed my Rex. And after waiting around for a bit, the Rex finally tamed. And look at that melee stat, 50 point, that's insane. And after leveling our new Rex for a bit, I decided it was finally time to finish up the base, so that's exactly what I did. And here is the base, pretty much done. I went for this kind of like nice temple looking design with a bunch of floors all like kind of shrinking as they go up to the top. Now I will build eventually a way bigger version of this in a mega base in a future episode of this series, so if you want to see that, definitely show your support on this video. And after the base building was done, I decided to celebrate by going drop hunting for a while, so that's what I did. I totally didn't get knocked out by some scorpions, but I did find an item that I was looking for, an Astradelphus saddle, so guess what's next on my list? That's right, it's Astradelphus taming time, and I found this nice level 174 with very similar colors to the one I tamed in the original Genesis 2 series, so of course I had to give it the same name as a little callback to those times. So I went out on our new Astradelphus on day 53 and leveled it a bit, made a cool little trick shot, and went and hunted some more drops because I wanted some OP loot. And speaking of OP loot, I found that pretty nice Rex saddle. It's not the best, but it's still better than primitive. Seeing as the Halloween event was still active when I was actually playing this, I found this nice looking skeletal Rex and decided to take its costume for my Rex. So make sure you come up with an amazing name for our new skeleton T-Rex. Leave some suggestions in the comments below and I'll pick a name during the next 100 days. What happened next, I'm still having a hard time believing. Look at that. An ascendant long neck. I pulled that out of just a random drop flying back from Rockwell's garden. Wow, that was probably the best thing I've pulled out of one of these Genesis 2 drops. I spent days 55 and 56 gathering up the materials so I can make an industrial grinder so we can grind up all the drop loot we've been getting. I decided that I needed a snow owl because they're really good at healing creatures, and I found this max level one with some pretty nice colors up in a mountain. So I brought my newly tamed snow owl back home and started testing out its healing abilities on my Maywing and Tech Rex. And then this guy decided to barge into my base, so I very politely used my Rex to tell him to leave. Then I decided to make a trophy mount and put up that Alpha T-Rex trophy I got earlier. While traveling to do my next task, I found this weird big giant group of fish just plopped in one corner of the river, and I found that pretty funny. Remember that Thyla I tamed earlier? Well, it wasn't really that good. Its stats were pretty terrible, so I decided to go out and try and find one that wasn't terrible. I found this level 168 that I hoped would be good. I ran into some trouble while taming the Thyla, and it got attacked by a Rex when I wasn't looking, and it dropped its taming effectiveness down to 41%. So now I had to wait for the Thyla to wake up, and then knock it out again, and that was going to take a while. When I finally got back to the Thyla, it was in the middle of a fight with some aloes, so I had to get rid of them, and somehow managed to keep the Thyla alive the whole time, and I did manage to tame it in the end. But when I checked its stats, they were terrible, and I wasted a lot of time. So when I got back home, I decided to paint up my rifle and harpoon gun because why not? And then I headed out to do one of the goals I set for this video, to complete as many of the race missions as I possibly could. So here is another montage of me completing missions. After completing those missions, I went to Rockwell's garden to collect some fungal wood and found a level 162 ARK there, so I decided to tame it. And some of you may be asking, why do I need fungal wood? Well, there's your answer. I need fish baskets because I want to tame a Shadowmane. So I spent the next very long time running around on my Rex through the Eden Biome River searching for fish big enough to tame a Shadowmane. And make sure you guys leave a good name suggestion for our new Quetzal. I think it looks quite good. Now, back to fish hunting. And if any of you were wondering how I catch my fish, I put them in a cage and then put them in a fish basket. I think it's a very cool strategy that everybody should use. And then we reached this day number. I don't know what it is about this day, but it was just a nice day. And with all those fish caught, I think it was finally time to tame a Shadowmane. And now, I have never had a worse experience taming a Shadowmane before, and this was definitely the lowest moment of this 100 days. Things just kept going wrong, the Shadowmane wouldn't go to sleep, it kept escaping the trap, and then something else happened, as you'll see in a second.
It was at this moment that he knew.
Yep, there it is. A skeletal Giga spawned right next to my Shadowmane. One moment it wasn't there, and the next moment it was there. And of course, yes, it killed my Shadowmane, and I had to go find a new one. So I searched until I found a new high-level Shadowmane to tame, but of course this tame went about just as well as the last one did. I didn't tame it. I kept leaving the trap, fighting things, getting in the water so I couldn't trap it again. I wasted all of my fish, spent many ARK days in this area trying to tame it. It was just a very annoying process that I will not attempt again until I've learned a better strategy. So if you guys have any tips and tricks for Shadowmane taming, make sure you tell me in the comments so I don't go and do this again for another 5 days. I decided a good way to recover from the Shadowmane taming nightmare would be to do something I've been putting off for a while during this 100 days, and that's taming a dire bear. The reason I need a dire bear is so I can get some honey so I can make kibble, so I don't have to constantly be using mutton every time I need to tame something. And of course, I only want a high-level dire bear, and I figured, yeah, I'll go to the Redwoods corner of the Eden biome and find a dire bear easily. No, this process took way longer than it should have. I kept finding low levels, and you'll see what happens when I end up finding a high level. During my search for a dire bear, I found this level 174R Thyla, and since I'm still looking for good Thyla stats, I could not pass up taming it. No! And after a while of searching, I finally found a good level dire bear to tame. Now watch this. Here comes the Thyla, just runs up, I'm not paying attention, and then you see me move and finally start to pay attention, and by the time I get there with my Maywing, the dire bear did not make it. And I am so annoyed. If I had just paid attention to the area around me, I could have prevented that, but no. And here we are again, another level 156 dire bear, and this time I took it away on my Quetzal. See that Giga down there? Pay no attention to him. He has nothing to do with this dire bear tame. Remember how I just said that Giga had nothing to do with the dire bear tame? Well, just watch this. This was so annoying. This is the second time in the past 20 days that a Giga has ruined something I was trying to tame. Gigas aren't even supposed to be common in this biome, and of course, there's one right where I'm trying to tame something. So I just gave up and decided to settle for a low level, and I couldn't even keep that one alive. I still haven't learned from my mistake. I should always pay attention to the area around my creatures. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. So I finally found something half decent. It's a level 120, and I wasn't letting anything happen to this one. I had put it in a trap and managed to knock it out and tame it with no problems at all. So I went out and grabbed some honey so I could finally make that beehive to start making kibble. Next thing I did was go out and try and find more creatures to tame, and I found another high-level Thyla and this amazing level Tech Rex, so now I can actually have a breeding pair of Tech Rexes with amazing stats. I decided that the rest of this 100 days would be spent building a breeding platform and beginning our Rex army. So enjoy this last montage of the video, the building of the breeding platform. And with the breeding platform all built, I can finally start building my Rex army. Now, while I stare at this terminal, I want to talk about the future of this series a little bit. If this video gets enough support, I will definitely do it 200 days. It is already in my plans, and I bet by the time you're watching this, I'm already playing 200 days. Remember when I said at the start of the video that you should watch till the end for a nice surprise? Well, definitely keep watching, because it's coming up. Also, be sure to leave name suggestions for any of the unnamed creatures you see throughout this video. I left them unnamed so you guys can name them, so come up with something good. And with this, we made it to day 100. Wow. I had a lot of fun playing through this and making this video, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. If you did, definitely hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys in 200 days.
Hey, Survivor!